Welcome students. For today's topic, we are going to deal with measurements. Suppose I ask you to measure the length of the table. How will you measure? You use a ruler scale or an inch tape and measure the length, and you say me a particular measurement. In this case, you are measuring the length. Your mom asks you to go to a shop and buy half kg of potatoes. Here you are buying half kg of potatoes. That means you are measuring the mass of the potatoes. And in the next case, I ask you, how long have you been waiting in this room? You say that you have been waiting in this room for the past 10 minutes. So here you have been waiting for 10 minutes means you are measuring the time. So you have been measuring length, mass and time accurately. So all these measurements are called as physical quantities. That means those quantities which could be measured either directly or indirectly are called as physical quantities. These physical quantities are very important because the laws of physics could be explained here. Then this length, mass and time, these physical quantities, they have something important also. They have the magnitude and units for them. Let us see what this magnitude is. Suppose you are telling the length of the table is 2 meters. In which case 2 is the magnitude and meter is the unit. And you have bought potatoes, half kg of potatoes, that means 500 grams. And here 500 means 500 is the magnitude and gram is the unit. And finally you said you have been waiting for the past 10 minutes. So 10 is the magnitude, and here if you, suppose you are expressing in minutes, and minutes is the unit here. So this is the magnitude. All these numbers which are used to express, it is the magnitude. Many scientists all over the world, they conducted various experiments and they recorded their observations. These observations were recorded in different scales. For example, which scale is prevalent in their country, they used that scale to record their observations. In which case they used FPS scale, CGS scale and MKS scale. Okay, so here we'll write length, mass and time. So let us see what these scales are. First let us go to FPS scale. In FPS scale, length is expressed in foot and the mass is expressed in pound and time is expressed in second. And the second one, CGS scale, length is expressed in centimeter, mass is expressed in gram and time in seconds. Finally, MKS scale, length is expressed in meters and mass is expressed in kilograms, and finally time in seconds. So many scales were used previously, and the scientists decided to have a uniform system. So finally there came the SI units. The word is derived from the French word Système Internationale. It is derived from the French word. We also call this as International System of Units. So from this SI units, after that the scientists selected 7 physical quantities and named them as base quantities. Let us see what these base quantities are. Previously we know about length, mass and time. The same length here, mass, time were the first 3, and the fourth one is temperature, and the fifth one is amount of substance, then electric current, and the last one, luminous intensity. So the base quantities are length, mass, time, temperature, amount of substance, electric current and luminous intensity. Let us see what their units are. Length is given in meters, we already know that, and it is expressed in small m. And mass is given in kilograms, and it could be expressed in small k, small g, kg. And time is expressed in seconds, and it is denoted by small s. And temperature is denoted by Kelvin, and it is denoted by capital K. Amount of substance is denoted by unit mole, and it is denoted by MOL symbol. And electric current is denoted by ampere, and it carries the symbol A. And finally, luminous intensity has the unit candela, and it is denoted by small c and small d. These are the base quantities, and we also saw about their respective units and their respective symbols also given. Okay, we know enough and more about length, mass and time. Now let us go to temperature. Before getting into temperature, I'll give you 4 examples. The first one is an ice cream, second one is hot iron box, and the third one is few ice cubes, and the last one a burning firewood. Some are hot and some are cold. Suppose I ask you which one is hot and which one is cold, how will you decide? You will decide according to their degree of hotness or coldness. So, temperature could be easily defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of the body is temperature. And it could be, and it has a SI unit, Kelvin, we already know that, and Kelvin is expressed by capital K. Suppose you provide heat to a particular object, what happens? The temperature increases and it becomes hot. Suppose you remove heat from a body, the temperature decreases and it becomes cold. So, temperatures are measured by devices called thermometers. We have 3 types of thermometers here: Celsius thermometer, Fahrenheit thermometer and Kelvin thermometers. We have 3 types: Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. We learn some important terms in this. The first important term that we are going to learn here is the lower fixed point. We'll write here lower fixed point, upper fixed point. Let us see what this lower fixed point is. This lower fixed point is nothing but the melting point of ice. So, the melting point of ice, we call it as lower fixed point, and the lower fixed point for Celsius scale is 0 degrees centigrade. Coming to upper fixed point, this upper fixed point is nothing but the boiling point of water. Here it is 100 degrees centigrade, and the third column will be number of divisions. Here, number of divisions, how to calculate? 100 minus 0, so it is 100 divisions. And in the second one, Fahrenheit. Lower fixed point is 32 degree Fahrenheit and upper fixed point is 212 degree Fahrenheit. And the divisions is 212 minus 32, that is 180. 180 divisions are there. Coming to Kelvin scale, the lower fixed point is 273 Kelvin and the upper fixed point is 373 Kelvin, and the number of divisions will be 100. And you would have noticed that I have written degrees only for centigrades and Fahrenheit. I haven't written degree for Kelvin. So it is a must that you should not write degree Kelvin, just write Kelvin. For centigrade and Fahrenheit alone, you should write degrees. Okay. After knowing this, there is a common formula in which you can very easily calculate. Suppose you know the value for in Celsius, you could very easily convert that into Fahrenheit, and also you could convert that into Kelvin. There's a very simple formula. So C minus 0 by 100 equal to, so why we are putting 0 here? 0 is the lower fixed point, and why 100? Because the number of divisions. C minus 0 by 100 is equal to F minus 32 by 180 is equal to, again 32 is the lower fixed point for Fahrenheit, and 180 will be the number of divisions. That's equal to K minus 273 by 100. This is a formula which is very easily used, in which you could convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, and from Fahrenheit you can very easily convert into Kelvin. There is yet another very simple formula in which you can convert from Celsius to Kelvin and Kelvin to Celsius, so on. That formula is K is equal to C plus 273 and C is equal to K minus 273. This is also an important formula in which you can convert from Kelvin to Celsius and from Celsius to Kelvin very easily. Otherwise, you can use this formula. I'll explain this by means of a simple example. Let us take, we have 50 degrees centigrade, and I have to convert this 50 degrees centigrade to Fahrenheit. Let us see how I am doing it. So 50 minus 0 by 100 is equal to F minus 32 by 180. So we'll proceed to the next one. 50 by 100 is equal to F minus 32 by 180. Now you can just score 1 and 2. And again you can score these two denominators also. You can score 2 and 180 and write 90 here. Just cross multiply, form an equation. 90 is equal to F minus 32. Or you can write F is equal to 90 plus 32. So that is 122 degree Fahrenheit. So F is equal to 90 plus 32, which is equal to 122 degree Fahrenheit. That means I have converted 50 degrees centigrade into Fahrenheit, which equals to 122. Next, I can convert this Fahrenheit into Kelvin also. So here I can write 122 minus 32 by 180 equal to K minus 273 by 100. 122 minus 32 will be 90 by 180 is equal to K minus 273 by 100. Here just score it and write 1 by 2, and same thing 2 and this one you can just score it and write 50. So K minus 273 is equal to 50. K is equal to 50 plus 273, and the answer is K is equal to 323 Kelvin. You should not write degrees here. So the answer is 323 Kelvin. So we have converted 50 degrees centigrade into first Fahrenheit, then you have converted that into Kelvin scale. Next we will see about the applications. Applications of temperature. Applications of thermometers. There are 3 applications of thermometers. The first one where Kelvin scale is used. Let us see. Kelvin scale is mainly used by scientists. Scientists use Kelvin scale, and this Kelvin scale, it was invented by Lord William Kelvin and almost used only by scientists. Next we will see Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit scales are used by physicians. You go to a doctor, when you are running temperature, you visit a doctor, he uses a clinical thermometer. Have you seen the clinical thermometer in which the graduations are only in Fahrenheit? So Fahrenheit thermometer was invented by Daniel And the next one, what is the normal body temperature of a human being? It is around 98.4 to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. And the last one is Celsius thermometers. Celsius thermometers were previously called as centigrade thermometers. The Celsius thermometers, it was invented by a scientist Celsius, and after his death it came to be known as Celsius thermometers. Usually the Celsius thermometers are used commonly everywhere, especially you would have seen in weather reports where the weather reports are given only in Celsius. That's all about the Kelvin, Fahrenheit and Celsius scale of thermometers. Next we move on to electric current. The flow of electric charges in a particular direction is called as electric current, and you know the SI unit of electric current is ampere and it is denoted by capital A. And the SI unit of electric charge is coulomb. SI unit of electric charge is coulomb, and you can finally define ampere also, which means 1 coulomb of electric charge flowing through a conductor in 1 second, you define it as ampere. So ampere is 1 coulomb of electric charge flowing through the conductor in 1 second. By that we complete electric current, and that's all for today's class. Thank you, students.